Preparing for IEM Katowice was pretty interesting. We're a pretty young team. This is obviously our first LAN event. So going into this event, I'd say our biggest style and preparation is we wanted to get as good at standard play as possible. The upcoming matchups between Europe and North America, for me, I guess my opinion's different than what most people in the community have, but I think that Europe overall is the stronger region right now. For us to perform well, it's our first LAN as a team. The biggest factor, honestly, is just drafting what we're comfortable playing. And we've been focusing really hard on broadening what that is, but that's the #1 factor. We have to be comfortable on stage or else we won't perform.
When we talked to Team 8, they said they were coming into this event to gauge their level of skill. But even with that, I have to question, yes, they probably would lose to Dignitas, but do you think that they really felt like they would be here, one game down to Nomia?
I wouldn't. Yeah, there's no way. If I was on that team and I've been successful in a league for the last 5 weeks, I would have confidence I could take a team that was considered a lower region.
And I have to just throw that in. It's not like they are playing horrible or anything. It's just like that the Australians play way better than anybody expected.
Yeah, I mean, they took a game off of Misfits, Toucher.
Yeah, the individual mechanics for each of these players is just really stellar. We're not seeing the kind of wombo combos that we have expected from this kind of team. From some of the other teams, like Misfits, for example. But like you said, they took a game off Misfits, now they've taken game off T8. Now the question is T8 going to adjust like Misfits did to pick a map that maybe they're not going to be able to team fight as well on?
That's a great question, and we're going to go into the Battleground pool for HGC and see what the choice will be, because as it is a loser's pick format, now Team 8 has the choice. They have always preferred first pick in HGC so far, but they might want to take a page out of Misfits' book.
Misfits, though, they adjusted via Dragonshire, and wow, Team 8, they go for Infernal Shrines, the first map that Nomia were able to take off of Misfits.
Yeah.
I guess it is a comfort map for them as well, because everyone likes this map, but that's still a risk.
It's one of teammates' favorite maps. If you ask them, hey, what's one of your favorite battlegrounds, they'll say Infernal Shrines. Go somewhere where you're comfortable, especially when you're on the chopping block, so it makes sense.
I have to throw something in here. We talked about the scrims that they played against each other, right? And one of the things is they were played in the public area, so that's one of the reasons why nobody showed everything. But the shot calling was very interesting, because on one hand you had Team 8, and they were going all out. I mean, Gloran was dictating the pace of the game at any second. I mean, he was there.
Yeah.
And then at some point you were like, I don't hear anything from the Australians. And I mean, these guys couldn't be more Aussie if they tried. You stand behind them and you suddenly realize they are talking, but it's just like every 1.5 minutes somebody says like, oh, I got to kill.
Yeah, it's super humbling.
It's just like,
we can win this.
it's like,
Let's go
I
in.
think we got this. Guys, you want to go core? Let's go core. It's just
They
like,
have such a relaxed and casual attitude. They are here to enjoy themselves. They're obviously here to do as best as they physically can, but they definitely don't seem to have that kind of pressure on them that other teams do, and it's very much working in their favor.
It can be relieving at that point, right?
Yeah.
Not to have that pressure on you.
Well, we are ready for the draft. Let's see what kind of adaptations are going to be made. My biggest question, once again, is Zeratul. Where's that going to fall in this game?
so far we've been kind of spot on with the prediction that the teams will be fighting over Zeratul. In this case, it was actually Team A that said, you know what, you can just have it. I'm pretty sure they kind of regret it to a certain extent right now.
Yep.
Even though I have to admit, it worked out very well how they were trying to deal with him. I mean, oftentimes he was just immediately dropped out, but as you can see, they are not taking any chances here now.
Okay, however, this does leave Fat94, for example, to go for one of the other picks we mentioned in the last part of the draft, maybe the Sonya, who does have a fair amount of use on this map.
Yeah, it's a battleground that Fat94 loves to pull her out on. Indeed. So here we go. Ragnaros first pick, and that's going to be the case if you ever watch Team 8. They love their Ragnaros for Prismatic. So to the right, Malfurion and Muradin picked up. Oh, Robodubba's going to be feeling good having his Muradin back.
Yeah, Malfurion worked very well for them in game number 1. In fact, it was the secondary follow-up to the Void Prism right behind the Horrify. They sort of horrified and then Twilight Dreamed one person.
And I have to say that I find it really impressive, like how high they currently value the Muradin. I mean, there's very few teams who would go into a draft saying, yeah, we are picking Muradin in the first rotation.
Muradin is this offense Tyrael.
Yeah.
That's how I would describe it. He wasn't expected in the coming up. A lot of teams sort of undervalued him, but he's jumped into almost every draft so far.
I mean, this is just something where they're saying in particular, we are good with this. They played incredible games against Misfits with that hero, and they're just saying like, okay, we're playing to our strengths right now. I am pretty sure that they at this point just like realize fully that they can actually win this series right now. Because we always talk about teams trying to achieve as much as they can. But I mean, these guys come here with a very realistic standpoint. They're saying, like, we come from a region that is considered to be one of the lesser regions. We're going to do our best. If we have a shot, we're going to take it. But it's a completely different setup when you're suddenly ahead and nearly the favorite to take the series.
Well, Team 8 moving into Gul'dan and Rhaegar here, so they have their strong lineup. They have some history here, too. Gul'dan's been played a little bit by Team 8, so they've been picking up more and more in the later stages. So now they have wave clear. They have clear of the shrine as well. Nomia on the right side. Do you ban out the Medivh? It's something that could come out. Yes, there it is. If there was like a starting engage like ETC and then Medivh, they could have a strong lineup for Team 8, so they get rid of that option.
And once again, this level of mind games between the two teams, they've absolutely researched each other here. And with the Zeratul already banned out by T8 themselves, Nomia just getting rid of the Medivh. Does that force Glaurung into Valera, or what else does he have? We saw him on Tyrael during the first game, and it didn't work out in their favor.
He's ran Dahaka in the past, a little bit here and there, so that could be an option for him.
Good map for it, very large.
This is so many comfort picks for them right now. It's actually crazy. Like, they picked a Falstad again. One of the heroes that we've seen them play on Curse in a very similar setup. They just went into, Zarya at this point as well. But, like, this is basically what we said them do against Misfits whenever they had the opportunity. There's the Muradin at your front line, the Falstad. We've seen great Gus. We've seen very nice one-on-one kills. They are really going for their comfort heroes here.
They know what they like, they know what they're good at, and they run with it. Exactly what a lot of teams who have come here said they wanted to do. Fnatic said wanted to run their own game. Nomia, they are the embodiment of running their own game by having a pool of about 3 heroes each and being absurd with them.
Yeah, if you come to a Western Clash, most of the time, yes, you want to have pocket strategies, but being able to play what you're comfortable with and excel at them is one of the best feelings in the world, and Nomia has to be on cloud 9 right now. To the left here, Team 8 now gets to choose what they would like for their 4th and 5th pick. I'm kind of leaning towards a Dahaka and a second tank. I wouldn't mind seeing Dahaka ETC here, or maybe a variant for a hard engage. Get those fights, get in the face of Nomia and set them off their game.
ETC, definitely one of the tanks who can punish Muradin the most, and Robodoba, he has been really good on that hero, but removing him from the fights by ETC, getting a good face melt to try and deny him that jump out can be game-changing. And you were right, the Dahaka coming in, probably going to be for Glaurung, and there is a Varian, the second tank.
So Varian gives them more isolation, sets them up well, and then if there is a counter engage that comes their way, they have the Horrify. So not a bad comp for Team 8 at all. In fact, it's a great comp. They have their wave clear, they have their setup, they have Dahaka for bottom push. Now, Nomia counter, what are you leaning towards for a 5th pick?
I actually don't know at this point. I was really thinking about a little bit more sustain for them at the front line. I would like that. I personally hate it when you have a single front line. I don't think you can sustain that at all. They had a bit of a tendency to do that as well. I mean, we've seen, for example, even if they are trying to play such a setup as Zarya, in this case, they go for a Tyrael, which I think is a good idea here for them. I feel what I really think is going to be huge for them is having that Falstad, because sometimes it feels like they're going a little bit overboard, and if they have that one panic button that they can just simply get out, that's the first real big asset to them. And we have seen great isolation kills with Falstad flying in for a snipe. That was in the series against Misfits. If they can pull that coordination off again, they can really put Team 8 into trouble.
Yeah, to add on top of that, they have 2 buttons to save themselves. They have the Mighty Gust and the Sanctification. So now they're in a spot where they can deal the pressure coming their way. They have to watch out for Horrify, though. That's a big deal in these fights.
When I look at the composition of Team 8, I see a lot of comforts, which they did have in the last one, but even most so, they're Dahaka. 3-0 so far in HGC and has yet to die on the hero.
Really?
Oh, that is a good stat to have.
Yeah, so feeling very good about this. He's going to have the global to be able to counter Falstad, but of course, Infernal Shrines, we have to talk about who is going to be better at being able to control these shrines.
Over a long period of time, I look a little bit more towards Team 8. Well, actually, they have Variant in the mix. It's kind of weird. You look at the Gul'dan clear, it takes a while, but it's very strong. It's the instant cast animation, so you're pretty well set up with the Fell Flame, and then you have Dahaka that can rotate in at any point, but they also have Variant. I think overall, I actually like Team 8 a bit more here for the control of the shrines.
I mean, for me personally, Team 8 is still the favorite in the series. They might be down 1 map, but at the same time, they're a team that is expected to win. We all love an underdog story, no doubt about it, but still, it's it's ANZ, it's like Nomia that have to really show that they can make it happen twice and not only take one map of their opponent.
Tetra, quick prediction. Who's going to take this game?
I've got to lean towards Team 8. Like the guy said, the late game is too good.
All right, well, we are ready for game number 2. Let's see if Team 8 can bring it back in this series. We're headed back over to our casting desk with Dread and Grubby.
Thank you very much, Gilly. The stage has been set, and here we are with the second game between Team 8 and Nomia.
And we were already talking a little bit about when looking at some of the compositions, some of the directions they can go with some of the builds. And I was talking about on the side of Nomia, I would actually, in this match, really enjoy a Tranquility with the Sanctification to be able to deal with that raw, team fight capabilities of Team 8 here. Using Sanctification to stop the burst and then winning the long run with that double warrior. It just seems those sustaining fights, I feel like they would be so successful. And that was something I really hope we see that direction. That being said, I don't think it's the must. It's just, we don't see much strength, and there is a window for it. And I think a lot of people recognize that. Just where it is kind of not official, I guess. Yeah, I personally do agree that I think it would be here.
No, but I think you're right. We've got a lot of sustained damage coming out here from Team 8, and it's double warrior as well. And generally, it's not that easy to blow up double warrior with Twilight Dream, as they can kind of sustain through it, especially if you turn on your essence before it as the Haka. So let's wait and see if we're going to see that. Speaking of something that may not happen for just a little bit yet, who do you think has a better level 20?
Ooh, that one's a bit of a doozy. If we get to the 20 mark,
I mean, Vala gets Farflight Quiver. Is there anything that can take her out?
I think I would say Nomia. It definitely has to have it.
Too.
Yeah, if it makes it on even footing that late in the game, I would very much agree.
Let's see if they can buy time with Falstad. There was some excellent Murden Falstad double dwarf action by Nomia earlier on Infernal Shrines against Misfits. They coordinated very well. The fly-ins with the Storm Bolts. Let's see what they can pull off here.
I'm also really looking forward to see, Fat94, we saw him there onto the Tyrael here, putting him on such a high impact hero as well. When we see him on the Zeratul, obviously he seems very much game changing for Nomia, and Tyrael can have that same impact for the team. So it's not maybe the story we know because we're yet to be able to really see much of him on that hero, but I'm looking forward to it.
So am I. Very cautious beginning by both teams here. No towers have been busted down yet.
When it comes to other level 1s here, I'm trying to see if talent-wise we see anything different. Robodub is still sticking with that Stormbolt, stacking. That's really what he's been running so far throughout the entire tournament. We do have a Q build on Gul'dan. We've talked a little bit in the past about what does that mean versus going into, I guess, more of an E build, more echoed corruption. And a lot of it comes down to the damage is going to be there, the wave clear will be greater, but the survivability and positioning is going to be a lot riskier for Yoda there on the Gul'dan.
Yeah, sure. You need to constantly be there. Every 2 seconds when you get that cooldown available, you got to be there putting out damage. Now, big move here on Prismaticism. He's going to get rooted. Can he get away? He's got the healing ward effect. And there we go with the Arcaner confirming the kill. Nice barrel and Stormbolt as well.
They're not done. Bots
wow.
here. 2-for-0 trade. Nomia here coming out swinging full 11 when it comes to the skeletal defenders. Looks like Glong there on the Haka has committed towards bottom, realizing they're going to just forfeit this very first Punisher of the game. A little bit different of a story, than we saw the last one. Very early on, every objective going over to Team 8 here. And one thing I want to note, I feel like we already just saw in that last initiation that a good and great Tyraels, I feel like a lot of times are separated not only by the Sanctifications, obviously, but more, it's the Eldrins. Yes. Where it's thrown and when it's used and when you reactivate. The reactivation is the most important. And a lot of it's going to come down to you have to initiate with somebody else who can provide threat. Right there, the Stormbolt hit. Immediately when he follows up, Dwarf House comes in. 2 targets are looking to threat. And if we see Fat keep this up, I feel like Nomia may be taking this game and sending North America team number 1 home.
Yeah, I mean, just to put things in perspective, Nomia got the first 2 kills in this game 10 times as fast as last game. It took them 20 minutes of Battlefield of Eternity, and here they did it in 2.
Yeah, it was a Battlefield of Eternity. Felt like these kills aren't happening for an eternity for Nomia last game. It was pretty tough, but they're going to be backing out, looking towards the camps here, buying as much time as they can. Tahaka has kept the pressure towards top of Falstad as he casually flies by. He does the drive-by there.
Hey, what's up, guys? Regeneration Globe, thanks.
Yeah, and he's back, and he's going to be able to negate that global pressure. So just a small lead. Infernal Shrines is a slow map. It's one of the slowest, and debatably for some time was considered maybe one of the more balanced across the board. at least when it came to counterplay and different strategies, right? But when the objective's lost, you don't feel like there's nothing to do onto the map. And so I guess I'm trying to say that I don't feel like we're going to see this move in any direction until way past 10. It's going to be like that 13-16 mark usually.
Impalers have been taken. Nomia is having the lead with that since they had the previous Punisher. Now starting to move to the Bruiser camp. 2 Bruisers are up, which means you've got all these options. You can stay put, you can take them early, you can take them late, or you can invade one of the opponents. Now that's a risky move. That might not be what you want to do when you are actually up against it. 0-1 down. Remember, the loser of this series eliminated from the tournament in last place, 7th and 8th. Gonna take each of the Bruiser camps. Instant cap by teammate.
Yeah, and for now, it seems just, you know, again, a very patient start outside of that small initiation of the objective. And that's another thing you actually just see on the map specifically is a lot of the times outside of maybe trading a fort on top for a fort on bottom, there isn't so major of a point to really force a fight over that unless somebody's really risking their positioning. Often kills are not going to happen, and it's still going to be the same story, at least here into this game. Dahaka looks like he's going to stay bottom for maybe an extra wave. Glowing there to help his team with the experience. 9's been picked up, so a tiny lead for teammate in the experience here. As we got the next shrine, this is going to be a tense one, as 10's going to be closed in for both sides, it feels like, as these defenders go down.
Now, if teammate can grab 20 Guardians relatively early, they can still put Ragnaros on the fort, use Molten Core, and pelt away at the final Guardians from afar. But it does look like Nomia is going to take the initial waves here. And what teammate is banking off of here is that Dahaka, trying to get a little bit more waves. They're ahead in XP.
Yeah, so
gonna go for one more wave mid.
Arcaner committing is saying essentially that they're gonna lose the race to 10, but they think they can gain enough skeletal defenders that it's not going to matter. See, teammate now picking up on the 10. It looks like Dahaka might try and burrow now because we're still have 10 skeletal defenders.
He's still going down.
They don't care.
They've given up.
They're gonna do the 4 vs 5. They're just going in. There's gonna be the cleanse. The taunt ended up using Robodoba, gets out there. Vanilla though doesn't share the same fate. As it turns out, fire burns the hell out of trees.
Yeah, I mean, they're starting a forest fire here, getting that first kill, getting to level 10 and trying to take it back. Now, 8 skeletons, 7 now. Very cool to see that willful 4v5, recognizing that with the heroics, they're probably not gonna lose that one.
Sanctification is available. 10's been picked up. There it goes.
Silence!
The silence, though. That is going to be huge. Now Robodoba's trying to make it happen.
All right, Sanctification comes out. They actually get the kill on Prismaticism. Ragnaros there. And look at that. Look at that. 35 versus 14 skeletal defenders. Which heroic was taken? It is Twilight Dream. Yeah, not that beautiful Sanctification Tranquility pairing, but that's a big threat as well.
I mean, it's still going to be a great tool, right? Like, even though typically with the Double Warrior, you don't see it as frequently, and obviously Tranquility pretty much is your not picked. It's just a rare pick across the board. I can't remember a single thing I was about to say. It was really impactful.
Both heroics are good, aren't they, Dreadnought?
No, they very much are both good, but it's more than anything, I think, if you get onto the Rhaegar is the biggest thing. You don't kill the kill target like you normally do with Twilight Dream. You just make sure Rhaegar doesn't get the Ancestral because, again, that's really the main reason you pick Rhaegar with those heavy burst melees overall.
All right. Positioning is going to have to be important for Malf here. And until he gets Ice Block at 13, he's got to be a little bit scared of that Warbringer combo, as he is vulnerable. He can save his allies with Cleanse, but he himself must be careful.
Yeah, and also just to keep track of a lot when it comes to teammate, when it comes to his stacking at 1 for Pursuit of Flame there, Yoda, because it does change a bit of the impact and approach to the game. He is closing in there, sitting at about the 75% to 80 mark of the 40 necessary to increase his range by 10%. Other than that, though, we are sitting Season Markman halfway. Everything, all the rest of the quests are still yet to be obtained in this game.
All right. 1 global apiece. Falstad is still top. The Hawk actually ports down. He's looking to engage on Tyrael and Vala in the bottom lane. Will he get the attack there? Nice cleanse on Vala. Sanctification as well to save her. It's the counter attack on the Haka. Keep in mind, he doesn't have that adaptation. Essence has been used.
Just a trade of heroics are really what we're going to see here. 3 used on the side of teammate. I mean, that being said, it's not like you got to worry about taunt being up or not being up for the next fight. 2 used on the side of Nomia, not having Sanctification. That is going to be a devastating blow, possibly, if teammate can force a fight around this 13 talent tier.
Fallen Bruisers have come up on either side. They still have a push here at the bottom. Level 13 is within grasp for teammate. They rotate to the middle. No opportunities really to gank anyone. Robodoba knows he's safe, he's Murden. And so it's gonna once again calm down a little bit. We see the bruisers being taken here, faster for teammate. This could be impactful. Could allow them to rotate faster to the objective and get a lead on that.
Oh yeah, it's very much going to force Falstad to be respectable in the top lane, and with the Haka, you know, kind of keeping him busy, possibly, if Glarung wanted to move that direction. It doesn't seem like he's going to be the case, so never mind. Glarung's going to stay on bottom, but either way, we're going to see Falstad have to clear up on top here. There's going to be Justin moving in. The taunt is used. Good cleanse coming out from Vanilla on that Malfurion. Falstad's not going to commit to clearing out that Shaman camp, so that might be a pressure.
Wow.
But the drag into the Sulfurous Smash, Falstad yet to even join this fight. There's going to be the fear. Robodoba here is 1v5ing as a tough dwarf, but I don't think he's going to make it out. Taunt is going to confirm his fate. 20 skeletal defenders.
My word, that was a max range drag tongue by the Haka. So well aimed. Very key here as, you know, it was a good cleanse on Tyrael. It was used. I don't think he needed it to stay alive. When cleanse was down.
It's one of those weird middle grounds, right? Because, like, you could argue that, yes, the cleanse needs to be used, but then you need to gain something off of it rather than just saving a single target. Or, because in theory, if it gets... Oh, man, take a minute, though. The turn.
Oh, wow.
There's going to be the Saints in the... Oh, wow. That was a roller coaster right there for a moment. You're like, okay, this is going really good. And here's this
Just
really
put
bad.
all your cards on the table and we'll see who wins.
Either way, Team A here to level up. 80% Punisher moving in with that Arcane. Relatively good when it comes to sieging. Molten Core was dropped as well. And it looks like Team A here is going to finally gain control of this game.
And how embarrassing would it be if Murden died there to Ragnarok's poke plus an Arcane Punish. He dropped pretty low. There we go. They do clear it up. Bottom wall has been removed. But overall, we're looking at a situation where, despite all the actions, it's 3 versus 4 in takedowns, 6 versus 5 in forts still. We're still set up for the late game.
Yeah, we are very much set up for that. That's a really good point that you bring up, is yes, we are pretty far when it comes to the levels itself, and a decent time into the game sitting at 11:30. But without the structures really opening up that heavily, it really has set it up to be a level 20 game. And that is something that, you know, Team A has to be considering, since bottom is the only real major opening lethal, and because there's no boss or huge objective outside of the Punisher, you really lie victim of whatever the map decides, you know, wherever it wants to go, and you can't even predict it. It's only a 50-50 shot.
Next Punisher is mid or top. We'll see where it's going to be. Level 16 has been reached, which means the teammate can start putting vanilla pressure here with these 6 Khazra Impalers.
Justing, throwing out the Q there. Oh, there goes the flight. The gust in. Holy Ground is not going to be up yet. And there's Yoda. He's in such a bad spot. The Ancestral. It connects. Fat is not going to have Sanctification up. Yoda channeling for his life. The passive blowing up there onto Bud's. Drag's going to be used. Trying to peel. Robodoba connects with the stun. But John is getting pretty much 1v1 there by Justin. Turned around. That reflect last second by Justin kept himself alive.
Nomia is such a cool team.
They just took they volunteered. They volunteered.
2 levels down.
Into a 16 talent tier fight.
Yeah.
And going even is a winning trade in that situation, because when you're down in the level, you gain more experience based off of your kills. So going 1 for 1, therefore, means they've closed in the gap in experience that much more.
Dread, I've got to admit, oftentimes when I'm down 2 levels, or when the team is down 2 levels, I don't see an opportunity. I think you just wait for mistakes. You just kind of take that punishment.
I've got the answer. For your future Hero League experiences, you ask yourself, what would Nomia do? Because it is, in fact, whatever will help them win the game, and usually it's just the hyper-aggression. They go in whenever it's needed. And honestly, maybe that surprise factor is part of the reason of this great success we see out of ANZ. Is just a lot of the teams are sitting here with this calculated, there's no way they do this into this talent here.
Right.
And they're like,
you're supposed to be the shy, unassuming team here that just kind of tries to learn and sits back. They're not. But I will say this, in Hero League, if a Falstad does this, he gets blown up instantly. Here, it was super cool.
That good holy ground there to be able to get the split. Sanctification got to be used. Prismat drops the Sulfurous Smash, gonna whip. Twilight Dream goes in, and that is gonna be 1 down. Gust to buy time for the team. Ice Block, you know, from Vanilla, was not so effective. Drag's gonna miss their buy.
He moves forward despite not having Ice Block. Would be a little bit careful here, Vanilla. Nonetheless, well managed here. They isolated Prismaticism. He threw out his Sulfurous Smash. A little bit scared. He missed mostly. And Nomia gets that kill that gives them the Punisher. Now let's look at what's happening at the bottom keep. It's
fun. It's just fun.
unhealthy.
He's a Lone Ranger. Yeah, he's feeling good. He's just, you know, he was told he had a job, and he's not going to give up until, you know, he can't do it anymore.
All right, well. Nomia is looking very cool here. I mean, you do the Mighty Gust on a team of Varian, Dahaka, Ragnaros, that would make me pretty nervous, but they're doing it so well. Loving the fast start plays coming out here. They get the Punisher. Let's see what they can get with it. It's a Mortar Punisher. They're all alive. They're pushing with it. Full life, full mana. They're going to get a fort. That's pretty much for sure, but what else will they get?
Yeah, that's a tough question, and that is really the question. There's going to be the Molten Core. But they're not done. They're going in. The Sulfurous Smash is going to be dropped as well as the Q ended up hitting there.
It's good damage. They need to pull back for a bit. Watch out for that Glorung tongue. There we see a very nice... Oh, the tongue on Mouth. He has the Ice Block. Gust as well. He stays alive.
Oh, the timing on that. Oh, the Gust mixed with the Ice Block was just enough to buy time for Vanilla. Now they have Sanctification up in 7. Twilight Dream just came off cooldown. Glorung is taking a lot of damage. Robotuba, Dwarf Toss in. You see the Holy Ground attempt to connect onto Buds. They don't have the damage, but the drag is the response. No Sanctification up as Fat94 is just killed. This Nomia can't go any farther, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I am beginning to question what they can and can't do after that last Gust play. But yeah, they have to back out here.
Yeah, you know, there was a decent result. You lose one, whatever. You don't have Sanctification burned, which arguably could be a bigger loss than actually losing Tyrael. The XP is fine. They get the fort that they came for.
It's one of those, what I like to kind of, the Void Prison effect, right? Like when your heroic is so impactful and the cooldown is so, if your death timer is shorter than that, it hits a certain point in the game where your death is worth more than the burning that to keep yourself up. And that's probably one of them because, again, they're going to need this if anything happens in the next couple of minutes here. Fat94 is going to be able to spawn. 20 will be closing faster for Teammate, largely because, you know, just being, Dahaka's had so much more pressure onto the map than Falstad has because he's been too busy making big plays from Talontiers behind.
Map pressure fairly neutral, slightly in lead for Teammate. They have the Khazra Impalers in the middle as well as at the bottom. Bruisers are pretty far away for Teammate. 20 seconds for the Bruisers for Nomia to go up. Big move here on Murden. He gets cleansed. That's cleansed down.
Flight going to be used there by Arcaner. Also keep in mind, we do see for Teammate, Yoda has managed to complete his level 1 with the Pursuit of Flame, and now hitting at that 16 with the Rampant Hellfire. You know, he's pretty much hit his final form when it comes to Gul'dan overall with this type of build. Once you're post 16 with Q and your level 1 is going to be completed, you have so much threat. Obviously, 20 is always nice because it's just a huge upgrade, but you feel very comfortable after the 16 mark.
Fallen Bruisers get taken by Nomia. They have to play it carefully. They use Cleanse and Falstad Fly. Big resources to burn. They cannot be active on the map. And they're doing pretty fine. Now, let's talk about vision, Dreadnought. We don't see where the blue heroes are. Nomia doesn't know. Dahaka shows, but he pretty much always does. Look at them, staying behind the gate.
Are they? How long are they going to wait here? This is yeah, they're going to wait for some time, try and threaten something out. Nope, there we go. We see at least a meteor is going to show, so only Ragnaros and Dahaka had showed for some time. Dahaka backed out. It's not going to risk.
Teammate is willfully not clearing top camp with all 4 of them. They want to keep their positioning hidden, making Nomia insecure.
Nomia seems to not care, to be honest. Oh, like they're just going in. They're just pressuring through bottom. Now they do
value.
See. Yeah, they are doing a lot. Like, so typically, again, a team, when you don't see all 5, are afraid to move somewhere.
You can't do this, right?
Yes, exactly.
But they have made a judgment call, and they are found to be correct. They get a fort. Anytime a trap is set, which is not sprung, that's a wasted resource, which you will pay a price for. Nomia calls their bluff, goes for the fort, and are now ahead in structures.
I saw this happen in the last game too. It felt like, you know, the mind games on top of the mind games between these teams, and it is making out for a beautiful series so far. But 20 is going to be picked up. Robodoba was stunned there by Justing. No cleanse forced out yet. 29 skeletal defenders here. 30 to counting upwards here for Team 8. Again,
that's 2 Warbringers on Robodoba. He doesn't have it available. Makes Robodoba feel very comfortable to move in. The skeletal defenders is starting to tilt in the favor of Team 8. 35. 5 left, but here we have the move in by Nomia. Oh, Dahaka. Dahaka is isolated.
He's got
Dahaka.
Ancestral connects. Twilight Dream is used. Will Dahaka be able to make it out as the Holy Ground doesn't split? But Justing on the bottom. He goes for the top. He goes down. Up on top. Robodoba here.
Ardent Shield.
Oh, the zone. Infamous. No way.
But, okay, the roots on Ragnaros here. Uses the Submerge. Takes a lot of damage here. Farfight Giver from Vala is in full effect. 2.2 extra range. Now the Punisher does go to teammate. 1-for-1 trades have happened, but with the positioning of teammate, this isn't going to do all that much for them. They lose maybe what, a tower, if that?
Yeah, it's just buying more and more time for Nomia in this match here. Structurally, you know, the fact that we've only seen really 3/4 end up falling in this entire game as we're now closing in on 20 minutes into the matchup is absolutely insane. There is a big wave on bottom that might be able to gain value for Nomia if nobody responds to it. But that's really the only thing on the map. The only threat for now is it looks like they're going to back out and worry more again when it comes to another Shrine phase for these teams.
We did say it could be a long game.
Yes, yeah.
And we did say that Nomia probably has the better level 20. Now we're in 6 versus 7 takedowns. Teammate has 6, Nomia 7. And we've got Vala's range now. It's going to be incredible. If she moves well, she should be untouchable. John's, one of his favorite heroes is Vala. And he's going to unleash his holy wrath here.
Yeah, we do see for Murden and Tyrael both moving into the Hardened Shield. Now, with that in mind, we talked a lot about Vanilla with the cleanses. When is it worth, when is it not? Most of the time, I'm going to argue it's not going to be in this case. Largely based on, unless they are a 100% going to die, when they eat all that damage coming out from the taunt and the combo, you pop the Hardened Shield after if they're going to continue, and you are going to get an absurd amount of value trying to confirm that kill. Talking about that, confirming there's going to be the fear. Robodoba, is he going to make it out? He will not.
Oh my word, they get the camp just like against Misfits, but unlike it, they do not get additional value. They lose the Tyrael instantly. No Sank, no Hardened Shield, pinpoint precision there by teammates' ability usage with the Horify.
And this is the first time we've had anybody die with, you know, without the Punisher phase available. 45 seconds before either of the melees are up here for Nomia, and teammate has transitioned down here. Nobody knows yet, but they do suspect here.
But don't you think Vala Falstad Malf can defend pretty well?
It's not going to be the easiest thing in the world, especially because Justin's going to take all this damage. The question is, do they move up here? They know Dahaka is on the top. They're going to give it up. They're going to just not even risk it.
Wow.
I did think they would at least not necessarily save it, but they would at least, you know, be able to buy a little bit more time, maybe even threaten to be able to kill.
So too.
That being said,
it might not be wrong.
It might not even be worth the risk, really, you know, because this is a very tense moment. Is risking that one pick there, the stagger death over this next shrine, really going to be worth it for them? They say we'd rather deal with the possible split pressure, plus they got a Falstad. So maybe that is going to be the better choice here for Nomia. Either way, it's the one they made, and
they've made decisions like this all tournament long.
Yes.
Not prone to emotional lashing out. It's like, no, we don't want to lose the keep. We're going to try and do a bit of meaningless poke damage. I feel like Nomia has been playing clever and level-minded. And that might just see them through to the victory here. Falstad, is this level-minded? Not exactly, but it might work out. Prismaticism is getting attacked here. Hardened Shield.
Yeah, both of the Hardened Shields are going to gain a lot of value here. Robodoba, though, is falling so low, ends up popping his ult. John, though, is almost going down. Nobody's going to keep him up yet. Vanilla backing out to get the heals. Robodoba pretty much just 1v4ing once again in this game. 23 skeletal defenders. Team 8 here. Looks like they're going to get the Punisher. The Holy Ground blocking out Justin there. The Sulfurous Smash connects. That's going to be a Sanctification not used as Fat 94 goes down. Skeletal defenders over 2 people down. And that is going to be moving towards an open core.
The damage became too much here to stand for Falstad, Malfurion, and Vala. They're now running with their tail between their legs. Can they get away? It looks like yes, but this is a 3 versus 5 defense. Like you said, in an open core, Ragnaros is going to take the Molten Core here. Can they bait the Punisher to the middle keep? They're going to try.
This is going to be a tough one. So the bait is going to happen here. Robodoba bought a little time. Shield's already going down. I don't think it's going to be a moment. Falstad gets taunted as well. Gust is up. There it's used, but the Punisher moving in. I mean, they're doing their best, but in the end, you know, that Punisher hurts, and that is going to be a tied series now as Team 8 takes game number 2 on Infernal Shrines versus Nomia.
Very nicely done here by Team 8. They do the equalizer. It's going to be the 1-1, and this massive knuckle duster of a game has come to an end. We're going to go to that game 3 draft.
I mean, I somehow feel like this game 3 draft is going to get really weird really quick, and it only makes me excited. You know, we already get to see this kind of beautiful dance of contesting such high priority heroes like the Zeratul for these teams, and that in itself is a little bit fun, because who's going to risk giving it up, right? Is anybody going to risk giving it up? But beyond that, it's just, now that we've pulled away from the Infernal Shrines and some of the maps that we've known a little bit more on this 3rd one, I just can't help but feel like this is the moment where it's like, where did that come from level of draft? I'm ready for it.
I mean, I'm totally ready for it. Let's see what our analysts have to say about this wonderful game.
Relief on the faces of the members of Team 8. Guys, that was a crazy back and forth game, number 2, between Nomia and Team 8, but Team 8 were able to bring it back. What was the turning point, Kaldor, in your opinion, of that game?
When they finally got like that double kill and could go for the keep, that was really the one moment. Because before that, I really liked how we saw Nomia the entire time just wait for their own 20s. They went for the fort at the bot lane, were willing to sacrifice one of the Punishers. That was like a really good move on their part. But then that double kill happened, and at that point, they just like snowballed against them.
Yeah.
Speaking of that fight, we actually can go right into it. And Trick, let us know what you think on that.
Yeah, let's check out the fight. I mean, one of the things that I want you guys to look at is Tyrael has been really missing out on using identifications, but here's the fight down here by the Punisher. Robodoba in the top left corner. The entire team had to move down to the south to help John and make sure that he's lived through here. It's important that John doesn't die. Tyrael on the left side here gets an engage, and he gets stunned on. There's an immediate taunt right away, and Fat94 is still floating around the back left, so Fierce Match comes out, but he gets focused once again. And the last couple of team fights that happened through this match, we never saw identification happen. And I understand you don't want to burn it for no reason, but there comes to a point where if you're losing every single fight, the last couple that you've already seen, you may have to just toss it out at half health.
Yeah, there were so many shaky moments on either side, I would say, in these team fights, but Toucher, we have to remember that there are a lot of new members on either side to LANs, and especially a LAN tournament of this magnitude. So it's difficult when you get to that point, you're exhausted, but they're going to have to continue to play through.
Yeah, I mean, these guys seem very positive about their new members. We spoke with them about it, and they really are happy with the team that they have going at the moment. But like you said, LAN experience is a big deal in these scenarios. If you don't have it, it can lead to nerves. And there's no more nerve-wracking position than when you are 1-1 in a best-of-3 in an elimination game of a tournament.
Yeah, it's that elimination match, and both teams are going to have to really pull through, bring out everything they have, because there's only one game left for one of them, and someone else will get to continue on. We're going to be headed to a break. When we come back, we'll have that pivotal game number 3 between Team 8 and Nomia.
Hold on to hope. It will not abandon you. The eternal conflict continues between the forces of good and evil. Evil will triumph over those who give in to despair. But despair cannot defeat the power of hope. Hope is the voice that will never be silent. Hope is the stream that fills the wells of courage. Hope is the light in the darkness. And in the darkness, I will be that light.